Welcome to our online participants. I think there's a lot of you on there, so hopefully you can hear us as well. Before I start, I want to thank a whole bunch of people for making this night possible. So I want to start off with the MedEd team standing down here on the side, and I want you to give them a big round of applause. So we have Jack, and they're going to come and do a few talks in between. Chris, there we go, there's Chris. We've got Pushy, Trish, Callie, and we have Patty. There we go. I also want to thank the Clinical Association, where we have Andrew, who will do a bit of a speech, our executive. So we have Janet Zadari. She's my boss, and she'll probably fire me after this event. So I'm just saying that out now, so you all are aware that she's there as my witness, you know. And we have Vijita as well, who's my executive director. We also have a whole bunch of clinicians in the room. I don't want to embarrass them, but you'll figure out who they are pretty soon. But I also want to thank Heather Lane, who's sitting in front of us here. She's our Director of Physician Training. We've also got Mr. Jonathan Fu, a Director of Surgical Training. And we also have Paul Woods. Paul has so many titles, I just call him that guy. And he has many stories. All right, so welcome to tonight. So I thought before I start, I'd just do a few things. So how many of you are from UWA? Oh, yeah. How many of you from Notre Dame? Oh, yeah. Oh, fairly even. How many of you from Curtin? Oh, we had a good turnout. And then we've got lots of people on the mics as well. So how many of you are interested in being a physician? Oh, okay. Very medical. How many of you are interested in being a surgeon? There we go. We've got a few surgeons. How many of you are interested in doing crit care? How many of you want to do GP? How many of you want to do medical admin? Oh, you're hired. Perfect. Ajita, can we hire her? There you go, you're hired. You ought to be a registrar. There you go, next year, come to Charlie's. So the other thing here is, how many of you want to have fun? Good, you've chosen the right place, because Charlie's is all about fun. And as you know, they'll send out the AMA health check report, but what I want to say is those F's, they stand for fun. So the F is for fun. Just remember that. All right. So I'm going to start off by traditionally acknowledging the elders of this land, and I'm going to get Andrew to come up and say a few words. Here you go.
On a serious note, or my notes say it's a more serious note after that one. My name is Andrew Gairdner. I'm the chair-elect of the Clinical Association, and my real job when I'm not being an invalid is I'm an anaesthetist. Whenever I walk up and down the hospital corridors, I see a large amount of artwork, which is by Indigenous people, not only from the area on the people whose lands on whom we meet tonight, but from right around Western Australia. And it reminds me that probably the best way that I can pay my respects to the Aboriginal people is by working hard to ensure that together we reduce the gap between Indigenous and non-Indigenous healthcare outcomes. So that's my question, paying my respects to our Indigenous Australians and traditional owners of the land. I hope you'll join me and all the consultant staff of the hospital whose quest that is. And wherever you're working, I hope you'll always think that way, but I particularly hope you choose this hospital at which to work. Enjoy the night. We're happy to field any questions afterwards, and enjoy the hospitality that's been provided for you. Thanks.
Thanks, Andrew. And I think you guys should give him an extra applause, because it shows you how dedicated he is, because he's come to talk to you guys with crutches, and he's driven all the way from Collie today just to be here for tonight. All right. So we thought we'd start off with a bit of a schedule. And anyone who knows me knows that I normally derail from schedule. So that's why I've got my trusty MedEd team here to put me on track. So we actually came with the 5 bullet points because my memory is pretty bad. So we're going to talk about rostering and workforce issues, some of the facilities on site, education and research, career progression, and culture and well-being. And so those are the topics we thought we'd cover tonight to say, you know, this is what we offer at Charlie's. And just to give you a bit of an idea, because as you've already gathered, there's a bit of diversity and spread. So rostering and medical workforce sits under our remit. So I'm usually responsible, and I've got my medical workforce team here with us tonight. We have Dina, who's waving over there. She's our manager of medical workforce. And we have Kelly, who's one of our medical workforce officers. So what we do is we look after you. That is basically what we do. So there's a lot of things to do about the medical workforce, but what I thought would be important and why I asked those questions is, at the beginning, we said there was medical, surgical, crit care, and general pathway rotations. And what you'll see when you get to us is a bit of a streaming or a bit of a matrix for what you're interested in. And it's okay if you don't know what you want to do. You guys are starting a journey, you know, through medicine. It's going to be an exciting journey, and you'll switch and change between streams and end up in all kinds of interesting areas. And maybe you'll do half of something and half of something else. But I think what we have here is opportunity. So you guys will all get an intern matrix at some point, you know, of what terms to choose to elect should you come to work here. And, you know, it'll cover a fair bunch of varieties. Good example is some medical terms. So you can see we've got renal terms, hepatology, hematology, gastroenterology, and a plug to our medical sites. You know, Charlie's is the state center for certain things. So liver transplants, very exciting. Stroke, neurology, we're state stroke. We also house NISWA, which do all the clot retrievals. We have a pretty large oncology and hematology base, and we've also got alternative therapies as well with them. So you'll get a lot of experience medically. Surgically, neurosurge, we are state neurosurge, so we do a lot of neurosurgical work. It's a busy ward, but you get to see all kinds of cool stuff. Orthopedics is everywhere. You guys all know orthopedics involves. Now we've also got a few other interesting terms. So we've got some rotations into obs and gynae for King Eddie's as well for interns, as well as if you're interested in peds, that's a little bit later with, you know, general practice and, you know, a few other things and a bit of diversity with psychiatry. We also, as North Metro, have a lot of psych related stuff because we've got Greylands, we've got, you know, the lodges in Selby and Osman Lodge, and critical care. So, you know, we have ICUs, EDs, MAUs, cardiology. It's pretty busy. We see a lot of patients. Our ICUs are always full. So these are some of the ideas of just what you can experience while you're here. I guess working hard is one of the main things because, you know, it's going to be busy, you're going to work hard, but it's about also taking leave and looking after yourself. And there's a bit about well-being and culture, which I won't take away from Chris's glory about talking about. But this is just an idea of about leave approvals. And generally, we do our best for trying to give us a lot of leave, annual leave, PDL leave. We basically work hard to try and maximize leave as much as possible. So this is just an idea of how we're doing it. And we're always innovating in leave. We're trying different things. And the most important thing is if you want to have leave, come down and have a chat to us. We've got our friendly medical workforce down here. We've got our friendly MedEd. Come and have a chat to us. And when you start, if you start here, you know, some of these things we can chat and quickly resolve. So moving on, I do want to introduce Beck. Beck has been our education RMO and she's done a tremendous job. We call her the education ninja because she takes after Bruce Lee and you won't expect it, but suddenly you're wandering around and she's talking to you about education. You wouldn't even expect it. She's on the wards just right behind you talking about education. There you go. I better go before she contacts me.
Hey guys, so we have a whole bunch of hospitals linked with Charlie's, but the main things I wanted to emphasize is brand new rotations for next year's interns. We have spots at PCH if you're interested in peds or GP, and we also have intern spots in King Eddie's if you're interested in obs and gynae surgery or GP. As part of North Metro, we're also we send interns to Joondalup and Hollywood. As you know, there's free parking there and $6 hot meals. For budding GPs, or just to get a better exposure to medicine, you have Albany Rural GP, Port Hedland, Geraldton, Karratha, lots of sightseeing, road trips, and fun. Doctor's Common Room, undergoing a major renovation. We have new stuff coming up, showers, bike lockers, breastfeeding rooms for those who need them. Junior Doctor Scrubs, brand new, coming out towards the end of this year. And plenty of cafes along Hampden, parking, and the State and Renal Transplant Center. You have lots of exposure here and lots of experience in lots of other stuff. Back to you, Deepa.
Yeah, thanks, Beck. The Doctor's Common Room is going through a bit of a refurb at the moment, but some of those plants that you see outside, we've taken it from there. So, you know, it's evergreen, just so you know. All right, so next we're going to talk a bit about education and research, and I'm going to invite up Heather and Jonathan up as both medical and surgical heads of training to give you a bit of an update about education and teaching opportunities here.
So on this slide, you'll see some of the many, and this is just a small sample of some of the many educational activities we have at Charlie's. So we've got lots of regular teaching in both surgery and medicine and in more general topics, but we've also got some really exciting short courses like the wilderness medicine, which you'll hear a bit more about in a minute. And if you do come to Charlie's, you'll have an MS Teams and you'll be able to join a core club in whatever area, or if you're not sure what you want to do, you can join the medicine core club and the surgical core club, and you'll be able to link straight to different teaching things in a calendar like that just through the app. And most of our things we have face-to-face and online teaching, so you can, you know, if you're really keen and you're on a day off, you can still come to teaching virtually. If you're interested in medicine, I'm the director of the physician education program, and so we take the physician trainees who are through their registrar years and all their exams, and we have quite a comprehensive training program with lots of lectures and education and support to get people through the exams, and to also make sure they get the rotations that they need and that they're interested in going forward. And we had an outstanding response for pass rate for our recent clinical exams, with 95% of the registrars passing. Pretty excited about that. Anyway, I'd better stop hogging the mic and let Jonathan talk about surgery.
I think that is just downplaying it. She's very modest, but she's worked hard with the DPT trainers, but that's a 95% pass rate. I never got a high distinction in anything in med school. So I was lucky to get a distinction, to be honest, but we got 95% pass rate for all the work that they put in the training program. We've got a whole bunch of medical specialties here.
And with the med education team.
And with the med team, so in particular, Trish, Carol, Patty, who organize all the sessions. But that's not to say surgical is not important.
Hi,
They
guys.
get a 95% pass rate. Yes, we do.
Hi guys, I'm Jonathan, and I'm one of the upper GI surgeons here. It's fantastic to see you here. It's funny, I see you guys and I think of what I was like. This is me 17 years ago, and how exciting it was actually. In retrospect, you know, I think to myself, you know, wow, where you are now is such a fantastic time. The world is your oyster, and you have unlimited potential. So what I mean by that is you can go and do anything you want now that you've got your medical degree. You can work at Charlie's, you can, you know, see the world, you can do all sorts of things with this medical degree. So it seems really scary, I suspect, and really exciting, but you just need to know that the world is your oyster right now. So, and we'd like to think that Charlie's is going to be helping you guys go through that journey. Certainly, when you become a doctor, we talk about service, and we talk about service to your community. We talk about providing clinical care, and that's challenging sometimes because you get bogged down by that. And I guess our role in education and research is to really reinforce the concept that while you're delivering good service, you also have to have vision of where you want to be. So in terms of vision, where are you going to be in 20 years? You know, how is your lifestyle going to work? where's your career going to go? And coming to grand rounds, coming to intern teaching, learning about all the things we have available in our core clubs provides you that vision. And I really have to impress on you that, because it can be hard through training. It can be hard through the intern years. There's no doubt about that. But I encourage you guys to get involved in research and education, come to the grand rounds and see the broader perspective of your education. For surgery, we have a basic surgical training program to try and get you guys through into advanced training. It isn't easy because there are so many, it's increasingly competitive. I mean, I think as a surgeon, I get to do some really incredible things. It can be stressful, but in terms of what I get out of life, it's great. And the hope is that, some of you want to do surgery, and it can be a hard journey, but at Charlie's, we're trying really hard to provide that support so that when you apply for training, that we've got all those components for you. So you guys are very welcome to come talk to me. We're sort of having a great sort of project in terms of surgical education and simulation. And again, I must impress on you, it's a fantastic time to be a doctor. But you must have vision. You must see where you're going and you must link it all in. And our hope is that you come to these core meetings, you come to intern teaching and you get inspired. Okay, but very welcome for any of you to talk to me about career opportunities.
Thanks, Paul. So here are just some pictures just to show you some ideas of educational research. The other thing we have is a sim center here, which has a lot of opportunities and training opportunities with sort of state-of-the-art equipment. And you can see there's a mannequin and there's Beck, she's the education ninja. You can see in the second picture, she's just suddenly creeped up to teach someone something. She can't help herself. You get to see stuff with the helicopters. You get to see people doing simulations. And one thing here is you'll see a lot of consultants are passionate about teaching. They love teaching. And I'll introduce a bit more about that a bit later. But, there is a lot of opportunities for educational research, mainly because we do have state-of-the-art sites and there's always new technology in these areas. I also want to introduce something that's specific, a little bit specific that we do at Charlie's, which you may or may not have heard about, and it's the wilderness medicine. So when I first heard about it, I thought they'd just take you up north, leave you in a car, and we make your way back to Perth, and that's your survival training. But it's actually very different. And I'm going to get Beck to talk through it because she actually survived the trip back.
I didn't have a car, I walked back. So, as part of the wilderness medicine course, we are the only hospital in WA that runs this, and it's run by a bunch of ED consultants in Charlie's. It was super duper fun. You learn how to do stuff like treating snake bites or attacked by a drop bear or near drowning in the waterfall. Really cool stuff. Definitely sign up for it, and you have heaps of fun.
And since reality TV has taken the hit with COVID, we've been filming aspects of it, so it's on YouTube. So you can watch the adventures of Beck and Perth in the wilderness. Oh wait, no, we can't publish that. Oh, no. No, there's a lot of stuff that you go through.
I survived the Koshi.
So I guess the other thing I want to talk a little bit about. So, I'm going to say we're all incredibly lucky we live in Western Australia. We have lots of opportunities. We get the good mix of metro healthcare, but also geographical, rural, and remote healthcare. But, when you talk about each hospital, everyone's got their own culture. And one thing that you'll start to realize at Charlie's is it's a very academic culture. People are interested in learning and pushing the boundaries. And we have a lot of, I call them research gods at Charlie's. They hate it when I call them that, but I am because they're not, here. But we've got a lot of people who do a lot of research. And as you can see, this is just a small plethora of names of people who are all professors, who all are kind of involved in multiple journal publications, manuscripts, pushing the edge of medicine. Because I think the most exciting thing for you guys as interns and future interns is that you're going to be faced with lots of technology. And I'll give a simple example because, you guys all have done, some core curriculums and you'll go, oh, someone's coming with chest pain. What would you do? And you say, take a history exam, pretend to listen for a pulse, pretend to listen for like a murmur, which no one can really hear because Tally and O'Connor is outdated. You really do an echo, you take some drops, maybe do some other tests. Because I remember when I was an intern, like chest pain was like, your story seems good. Maybe you go to the cath lab. I did an ECG. Oh, whoops, it didn't really work so well on this machine. That's all. So, we really changed since those days. And I want to kind of put a few people on the map just to sort of say what we have. So I'll talk about Prof. Gary Lee, mainly because he's not here, so I can say what I want. But you can see he's got a whole bunch of qualifications because he's all over the world. He's well known for pleural diseases. So if you're interested in respiratory, they run the pleural catheter unit. They're basically at the front end of pleural related diseases. And like any academic, they have to flex. So there you go, 6,627 citations. So, they are always into research, and he's a very nice guy and very knowledgeable. So if you have a respiratory thing, you know where to go. We've got Prof. Anna Nowak, oncologist with malignant mesothelioma treatment and research. We're a heavy cancer center. And Prof. Shirley Jansen, who's always experimenting with new technologies in the field of vascular surgery. I also put a surgical, I tried to make it even so it wasn't all medical, so I chucked a few surgical people in there. We've also got Paul Woods, who probably invented ICU. Is that fair to say, Paul? He can tell you stories from when they used to have to do bloods and take it down to the lab and actually read their own hemoglobin. And, ABGs weren't invented then. So we have a lot of people at the pushing part of research and innovation. And I'm now going to introduce one of the most key important people you're going to meet if you choose to come here. And I'm going to say Kushi. She might do her entire speech in French, I'm not sure. But Kushi has been instrumental in setting up innovation and research and education. She's like a mini research girl.
Bonsoir à tous et à toutes. Chris, can you translate? So it means hi everyone. So we're going to talk about career progression. As you can see, we've divided into two aspects. So there's the clinical aspect of it and the non-clinical aspect. So here at Charlie's, there's a wide range of opportunities to actually tailor your rotations to your career stream. So you have critical care, as mentioned by Deepan. So as an intern, you'll be able to do an ICU tab. There's the surgical aspect of it. So as the basic surgical stream for PGY2, you actually have dedicated education, mentorship, and support for the exam prep as well. For medical, the BPT program, so you're able to actually apply as a PGY1 to get onto the training program. And some of my friends actually got onto the training program as a PGY1. And then there's also the general practice. Non-clinical aspect, you have research, as mentioned by Deepan, the gods of research, education and professional development, and the RMO Society. Next one, something new that we've created at Charlie's is the core clubs in 5 components. So there's critical care, general surgery, general medicine, general practice, and specialties. So I've only been focusing on the critical care aspect of the core club. So it's something that's new this year. So we're getting teaching workshop of 1 week and PDL electives. So what has been created this year is basically trying to get those who do not have the opportunity to get a critical care rotation to actually get PDL electives in critical care. And we're also liaising with other hospitals as well. So you have the opportunity to do an ICU PDL elective for 2 weeks at RPH and also at Fiona Stanley. And you can also do trauma as a PDL elective at Royal Perth as well. Yeah, moving on.
Thanks, Kushi. Give it a round of applause. So I want to thank the MedEd unit because, like I said, we're always innovating new things. So the core clubs is one of those things. Huh? Yeah, it'll continue to have your face like that. So it'll have the core clubs in there basically to innovate and do new things because it gives you guys the opportunity to learn from other people and mingle with other people as well, both junior and senior. So I think we talked a lot about stuff to do with what we offer, but I think this is the real part of this slide. I'm going to get our El Presidente Chris he wants you for Charlie's and Aussie Park to talk to about. So we've said all the real stuff, but I think this is the real reason why you want to come to Charlie's. So I'm going to get Chris to talk to these. No pressure.
Okay, I'm going to do my best. First of all, I just wanted to add another thank you in to specifically Cushy and Beck, who've just done a ridiculously huge amount of work in bringing you all here and catering all the substantial amounts of food we have. So just another round of applause for them. And I just wanted to say congratulations to all of you as well. You've made it to 4th year now, and you're just about to get paid. Can I get a woohoo for about to get paid? Yeah. Okay. And can I just get some hands up from people in Notre Dame? Nice. All right. It's like people from Notre Dame. Can I get a woohoo from you guys? Represent. Psych, I went to the Okay. So you've heard a lot of relevant information to deciding whether you want to come here, but I'm going to hit you with the hard facts, the real stuff. This is the stuff that really matters. I'll be doing some searching. But first, we're going to talk about the RMO Society, which I'm the president of. So we've done a lot of things this year, and I really encourage you to get on board when you eventually do come and join Charlie's next year. We've done a couple of things, for instance, the share tutorials. Has anyone been engaged in the share tutorials this year thus far? One of you? Okay, 2, 3, good. All right, I encourage you all to get involved. I'm seeing a couple of other hands there. They're really good. The JMOs are running these tutorials for you all that help you with your final exams. They're run here. They're done every single week. They're in conjunction with the Med Ed department. They're really high quality. I recommend you to come along. That is one instance of many where we are participating with you guys, with the rest of the hospital, and trying to sort of bring everyone together. We do things like a regular cocktail event. We're doing regular monthly drinks now. We bring scrubs into the equation. And we're starting to do the SICK PCH, King Eddie's SCGH collab, where we're going to start doing things together, which is going to be really fun. But here are the real facts. This is why I need to pick Charlie's. Evidently, we have an advantage here. 3, 3, 3, 4. A clear winner. If that doesn't convince you, I don't know what will. We are the only hospital to be 90. You can work efficient if you want, but if you want to walk around in the armor like we do on a day-to-day, and it's COVID safe, it's a mask. Have you guys been to Fiona Stanley and seen the coffee shops? Jamaica, we've got Coffee Code, Rejuvenate, Coffee Anatomy. What about those puns? It's so much better. Whoop, I've done that somehow. And then RPH, they actually don't drink coffee, they just go off good spirits. If you go there, we're not going to knock them. That's fine. Next point. This is the park, the closest park to RPH. It's kind of nice, it's a bit cloudy. Looks like we got like 4 trees. That's fine.
I don't know if you actually walk there. I do not recommend going there now.
I'm carefully going to admit that from the Zoom recording. This is actually where Fiona Stanley was built, on the puddle. And then we've got our closest park. Oh, Kings Park. That's a beautiful name. Yet another reason to come. You might notice Google. All right, so I just wanted to talk a bit about my ward experience as well. So you'll notice these posters here on the left-hand side of the frame, Serena, Hannah, Lucy, Chris, and Mudra. So what we did as part of the culture of Charlie's is we started putting out these posters on our ward when we were working. They were the intern of the week posters. And as you can see, I don't know if you can, but Hannah in this instance is the intern of the week. And we did this on our author rotation as interns. And what would happen is the nurses would come up with a marker, and if we ever did something for them, they'd mark our forehead. But probably the most embarrassing part of this whole equation was at the end of the week, you had to mark that you were not the intern of the week as well. On the right there, we've also got French Friday that we did as well, where we bring in French food on a Friday with French press coffee. This is our cardio ward. You can see it's got nice fairy lights. I don't know if they're as nice as ours, but they're nice. And this is my author crew again, going off to Mandra to have a good time. These are the kind of friendships you'll make at Charlie's, that's what I'm trying to say. You saw Kushi speak before. I'm not sure if she's aware of this photo, but I just snapped that one in the lift, so she'd like that one. And here's a little text message I had with one of the Gen Med consultants. So the story here is that what we used to do is we'd go off and play tennis, because it was like the two interns and the other team. And we'd play tennis on like a Saturday and we'd go have a couple of beers after that. And we'd text Kadali every time we won. We'd say, hey Kadali, we've done it again, we put one or two. We'd say, good on you, mate. And we'd have a much more pleasant walk around the next day. So they're kind of the things to expect at Charlie's. You'll start to make friendships. You'll have a lot of exposure to the people around you. And it's really important that you do. Probably the most important thing for you next year is you have a good cohesive network of friends. It's going to be a different year to what it is to study. It's going to be really different. You're going to come home, you're going to get tired, and there are going to be times when you're really stressed and run out. And if I had to pick a hospital to go to that looked after me in those times, I would pick Charlie's, because people are there for me always. So I really encourage you to come, get involved with society, and we would be keen to see you. I'll let you jump in and talk about faces.
Give it up. So now you know why we call Chris El Presidente. He scares me at times. I think he's coming after my job. Thanks, Chris. So the last bit I want to say is also we've got a few consultants amongst here with us. So if you guys don't mind standing up, just so you show that even if it's, well, yeah. So you can see there's a few in the back there. We've got consultants everywhere intermingled within you. They all embarrassed me. Thanks, Paul. So we've also got some faces of Charlie. So this is a, I think Chris said this best. You guys should be excited because it's an exciting chapter one. This is what you guys have been training for. You're going to come into the hospital and you're going to be a doctor. Patients are going to look at you and they'll go, oh, you're a medical student. Like, why should I tell you all this stuff? They're going to be like, you're my doctor. And it's going to be challenging and it's going to be a learning experience for all of you, right? But I think it's about, you will learn a lot. You should embrace the opportunities. You have plenty of opportunities and it's what you make of it. But the most important thing that we want to have here at Charlie's, as you can see, is we have fun while we're doing it. So it's all about having fun and learning from it. And they're going to be good days and they're going to be terrible days. And that's just the nature of medicine. You're going to meet a patient who you're going to hear a terrible story. You're going to feel for them. You're not going to, it's the first time you've ever seen anything like that and you're going to need support. And at the same time, you're going to have great days where you're going to be like, yeah, I diagnosed that PE and no one else found out about it because I ordered that test. So I think what's important is Charlie's is here for you on your journey. Our job here is to mold you into leaders of the future because each and every one of you, whether you choose to stay in medicine, go somewhere, is going to be a leader. You're going to be someone in the community that people are going to look up to. And you're going to be able to make decisions. And what we're here to do is support you. And most of the consultants and the registrars here or other people have been on that journey. And that's why they're here today, to take the time and effort, because that's what medicine is. So we come to the end of the event because you guys are all probably more hungry and more thirsty for booze now. But I want to thank basically the following, everyone again. So I want to thank the Charlie's RMO Society, the Clinical Association, MedEd. You can see it's a whole bunch of people working together to make this night happen for you guys. And I also want to thank our sponsors. So I want to thank MEGA, the AMA and Double Helix Medical, which you've seen outside, as well as thank PMCWA for giving us the opportunity for this night. They're sitting down the front. Then if they want to, yep, there you go. Thanks, Caitlin. So, for all of this. And I guess as we come to a close of this evening, we'll go into questions. And there's a few questions that I think were pre-done, so we can go through those. Oh, you're going to ask me questions?
Oh, I can if you want.
Yeah, it would be weird if I asked questions to myself. I don't know if we need a panel up here, if any of the...
Yeah, so we're kind of doing this in the fly. Beck, do you want to jump up on the table? Maybe Trish, we can answer some things that you guys might have to say. I I've got a couple of responses from you online already because we opened that form to you, obviously. Something I forgot to mention when I spoke last was to the Notre Dame students that I came and spoke to earlier, I think I promised you a matrix. Is that right? Something to that effect. So we didn't include it in the slides, but I just remembered about 5 minutes ago as someone else was speaking. So what I've done is create a web link. So if you go to charliesrmosociety.com/matrix and just fill in your details there, we'll send it to you tomorrow.
Make sure you take the red pill before you enter.
Okay, so there's a couple of questions that came in online. What I'm going to do is just set up this radio mic. Walk that over there. Just give me a sec. Go ahead. You can even walk to the table though, with these guys.
Huh?
Oh, Dina, yeah, that's fine. Okay, we're going to Dina. So one of the questions online was, what are the processes of claiming overtime and requesting leave at Charlie's, which is obviously going to be a big issue for a lot of the students becoming interns, hopefully our interns next year. We thankfully have Dina, who's a wonderful manager of workforce, kind of a second mother to me to answer that question.
Overtime, okay, well, overtime you just basically get it approved by your department head and placed it into the system. It goes into a JMO roster email address, but we will provide you all that information when you get your contract. So when you get your contract, you'll get information about how to process for your time, what sort of forms you require, and how to put in your leave. So all that information, there's actually a leave email box, there's a rostering overtime email box as well that you can pass in. So we can provide you an information sheet with your contract.
Yeah, and as part of medical workforce, that's basically what we do. We help you process forms and do all that paperwork so you don't have to do as much. So essentially, we will be responsible for overtime and leave. And as Dina said, we'll be innovating in a few areas, especially with leave, because we're always constantly evolving to try and maximize. But long and short of it is come and see your friendly neighborhood medical workforce. And if you guys come in for orientation, we have a bit of a section where we'll be talking about what the forms are and what the processes are.
So one of the questions we received online, is there any difference between the number of rotations being offered at King Eddie's, PCH, at RPH versus Sir Charles Gairdner?
Yeah, so I mean, I can talk to that. So at the moment for us interns, we'll have 2 intern positions at PCH and 1 intern position at KMH. Wilford will have some positions as well, but I think what we also do is we offer resident positions. So there'll be 1 resident position. Well, when I say one per term. So there's a few resident positions as well for King Eddie's and PCH. And I think the reality is PCH is right next door to us as well, so we have a pretty good working relationship. And King Eddie sits under the North Metro banner, so we also have a pretty good working relationship. In fact, really, everything sits under the North Metro banner, which is basically admin speak for we're all one big group.
How easy is it to get leave as an intern at Charlie's? How many weeks of leave per year?
So as an intern a couple of years ago, I applied for 2 weeks of annual leave and 2 weeks of PL and all of it. It's really not hard, just need to fill in the correct forms and then send it through to the medical workforce. And you usually get a response within 2 to 4 weeks. And if they can't give you the exact week that you want, they will offer you an alternative. So no stress.
Sorry, wasn't paying
Now you got a question.
I was just wondering if the rural terms like Gairdner or Headland are available for intern use. Yes. Yeah. I was just wondering if you could go to Gairdner or Headland as an intern, or do you want to be an RMO?
The short answer is yes, and we also have other terms in Geraldton as well. So we have terms up north, down south, and we have a special position in a few other places. And we're always negotiating with WACS about rural terms because people are going to the country. If you're interested in going to the country when you sign up, let us know so then we can work things around. Because obviously, for some people, you'll need to organize your life and leave and all of those things. So we're happy to work with you on how to best make it work.
one of the questions online was, can we do rotations in GP and can we do them rurally?
Yes, I can start. So yes, you can at Charlie's. We do the hourly rotations that anyone wants to be involved in GP. I'm not that myself, but from what I've heard, it's really exciting and good. Obviously in the rural side, you have a little bit more exposure. So being able to feedback from them, obviously, is beautiful.
I would also like to add that I've been working with the rural clinical school. So this year we had 3 of our RMOs that were approved to go over to Geraldton to do the rural experience. So it was a Midwest experience to see what it was like to be a GP in a rural setting. And they had dinners with the GPs in town, and there was a whole heap of things that they were supposed to do. So we're building those connections and trying to get the rural connection for our junior doctors.
They also literally had a blast because at that point the cyclone was coming in Geraldton, so it was a bit of a good time. There was some turbulence trouble, but yeah, a good time. Yes.
How many real rotations do you do?
So what we do, because with internship, we need to do a certain number of core terms to get the experience that we need. So within our rural terms, some of them will be medical, some of them will be surgical. So within the matrix that you guys got, do you want to answer?
No, it's fine.
Am I saying something wrong? Oh, okay. So within the matrix, it's actually allocated. So when you do the rural terms, in some areas you'll get some rural blocks, and then you'll get slightly more rural terms, and in others you may get one, sometimes you may get none. So when you get the matrix preferences, you'll get to choose. Yeah, you'll get to choose a little bit. So if you're very rurally oriented, you'll probably go and get a few more. But it's all about making sure that you pass what you need to pass in intern. So I guess it makes more sense when you see the full matrix, but there are definitely rural locations on offer.
Chris, where's the matrix?
Give me your email.
It's charliesrmo.org.
Oh, sorry, charliesrmosociety.org /matrix. Good, that was supposed to be finally. You can't forget that question. Hello.
Hi, just wondering, can one do rotations inside as in two?
Yeah. Yeah, there will be some interpretations in psychiatry, and like I said, we've got places in different areas, so like there's Greylands, there's Selby Lodge, so depends how hardcore site you want to go. Whether you want to go to a gentle site or whether you want to go.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Have there been any instances of junior medical doctors not getting overtime approved by consultants or?
Look, the policy from Charlie's, and I've got Janet right here as our executive, which been quite clear. Any overtime you do gets paid out, but you need to let us know what overtime you do. So you need to fill out the form and tell us exactly what overtime it is, and that's why I said come and talk to us and many workforce and stuff, because it can be quite confusing, like within any hours and hospitals and stuff like that.
Do we offer radiology placements people like to do, and how many places this week?
We actually have Jonathan. Yes. Okay, yeah, so we do offer as a resident, there is a radiology placement, so it's like a job shared position. So it's job shared with nuclear med Charlie's, so you get a bit of that radiology flavor. We also are looking at, if you're interested in sort of observerships, PDOs, that kind of stuff. Oh, there you go. That tells me the PDOs are already running.
What's the parking situation like?
Should I give this to you, Janet?
Yeah, no.
So I think you can apply for parking. Obviously, it is very busy with parking. There are a lot of people on site. So I would recommend that, I think with Charlie's, because it's so busy and we have a lot of people coming to the center, and there's a lot of people. Apply for parking, you'll get spots. Definitely, you have to decide what time you're trying to, but there's also the wealth of opportunities of public transport because everything we have bus line, train line, etc. I don't know, what do you guys?
Sorry, I am going to feel.
My bad.
Right, let me give you the right answer. So you So basically, doctors get parking. There are challenges with parking on this site, and part of it will depend. If you live across the road, you're not going to get parking. We'd encourage you to walk across the road. However, parking is, that was, sorry, not me. Parking is allocated on the same basis at all sites because everybody is governed by the same rules for parking. So your parking is the same whether you're Royal Perth, whether you're Charlie's, whether you're Fiona Stanley. So I would not pick your site on that basis.
It's roughly $6 a day, and which is the same, about the same as Royal Perth and Fiona Stanley, but it's free at Joondalup and Osborne Park. Right? Yeah, that's right. And Selby. And Greylands.
I think you mentioned a second ago that leave approval can take 2 to 4 weeks. Is there another process for more streamlined leave approval if you don't have 2 to 4 weeks to wait in some situations?
So we're currently working on leave processes. I'm not able to leave covered dates currently, so it's rostering covered dates. So basically what we're doing is all the leave, so you'll have your term, so if you have 5 terms, and 8 weeks prior to the term, we will ask that there's a covered date. So all leave prior to the 8 weeks will be advised, and be accounted for and either approved or not approved or discussed. And that will be for the whole year. If somebody is after that 8 weeks, we would always advise them to come and speak to us and have a discussion. So the reality is, if you come in today and you want to pick a course because there's a spot for next week and you really want it, we will try and make you get the big. But we know in life things happen. We're people before we're doctors. So if you have a family thing and you need to go and do something and there is no cover, you come and speak to us and we will get the cover. You don't need to worry about that. We worry about that. That's our job. Your job is to go and do whatever you need to do.
Hopefully when they're 7 again, Charlie.
There's another question.
All right, we might start to wrap up the questions because we're running close to time for the venue. So maybe 1 or 2 last questions.
Hi, I understand that part-time internships are available at Charlie's, and I was just wondering if you could tell us a bit more information about how that works and how you maximise opportunities to apply for that.
Yeah, so I think, so our meta unit works with you guys on part-time internships and we incorporate for the bakeries. So we have 2 people who are doing part-time. It obviously doubles, because of the nature of it. So we kind of created with, there are 3 departments here, like, that will support, we can work into a bit of a structure. So I think the best scenario is you've got 2 people who want to share, and that's usually how it works well in their departments who have been working for that already. So then they're supported. So like, for example, respiratory, as I mentioned, with rural research, they have to take part because they structure the departments. And obviously we have to work with getting what we need core medically, core surgically, etc. So there's a bit of a matrix or a bit of what your year looks like. It'll be a little bit more longer than a normal year because we still need to get the time that we need. So it might go more than a year and what it is. But we work with you in a minute. And we've got Trish sitting here who basically somehow makes it all happen by working in and talking to departments and liaising with you, as well as the medical workforce about how it works. All right, last question, lucky last. Or no questions?
How many interns are we taking next year?
120. Sounds good.